What's up, people? Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Cup Chasers podcast. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. We have made it to the second week of the international break. What's up, Who Killed Who? Thanks for being here. And it's lots of European action. The USA have played a game. Eden Hazard has retired. All kinds of good stuff to get to tonight. And that's where we will start. Mr. Eden Hazard, you guys got some favorite moments? Anything that really brings a smile when you think about Hazard and the career he's had?
There's a bunch.
Did they all come in that one season?
No, let's start about how he announced he was going to Chelsea.
Go for it.
Everything was like, oh, he's going to City, he's going to City, he's going to City. And then he just tweets out, I will be playing for the European or the champions of Europe. That's all he said. And that was it.
Yeah. Yep. Mr. Hazard comes to Chelsea. Yeah. Are you how do you feel about some of the stuff coming out from different teammates about how lazy he was before for practice?
I mean, we knew
that already.
We knew that.
Yeah, I think everybody knew that.
And it's just one of those things, like Eden, if you watched him as a player and if you talk to him as an individual, he's not like, he doesn't have that mindset like Messi and Ronaldo. Like, he might have the skill level and he could have been great or he could have been way better than he was. And it's like, or he could have had a longer career. Eden was a brightest star burns the fastest type of player anyway. Like, he knew he was there to live it up for 7 years, 8, knew he was going to, you know, he's just had that mentality about him, like very immature, like when it comes to work ethic, like playing video games before a game. He's not studying film. He's not taking it, you know, he was there having a good time. And he kind of embodied that old school mentality. Like we always talk about Ronaldinho having a smile on his face when he played and stuff. Like Eden just went out there and he played. It was a game. Like at the end of the day, everyone forgets, like it's still a game. And Eden played it like a game. He had fun with it. It was what it was to him. And the beauty of that, like his solo, like one of the biggest ones that stands out to me is that solo goal against Liverpool, man. Just that, that encapsulates the entirety of his ability, his dribbling, his vision, the hustle that he would portray if you got him the ball in the correct moments. Like, I don't know. It's just one that stands. I mean, I know it's a big one, but that's the one that just kind of put the ice.
I'll tell you, my favorite Eden Hazard moment was the day he left Chelsea. That is 100%.
What did he do before he left Chelsea?
I don't want to talk about it. I'd rather not talk about it. The 6-0. It was gross.
No, that wasn't a 6-0.
No,
it was a Europa League final.
I don't want to talk about that either. 4-0. What do you want? I drove to Xavier's house.
Oh yeah.
I drove an hour and a half
to
watch that game with Xavier, and then we laid an egg on the field. Why did Arsenal and Chelsea go to Baku to play against each other? What? I had to drive an hour and a half to watch us not do a single thing. That was disgusting. Anyway,
I think he had a brace in that game, if I remember right.
Stop. Is that your favorite Eden Hazard moment? It's certainly not mine.
No. My favorite. I mean, there's a bunch. I mean, one of them doesn't that as well as the run against Shaw in the 6-0, where he shrugs off Coquelin and
I loved Francis Coquelin.
Coquelin. There we go. And who was the defender?
Was it David Luiz?
No. It wasn't.
It was Gabriel Paulista, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then there was also he was French.
Oh yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about because that was a foul against Hazard. It was an offensive foul, and you will never convince me that it wasn't. He straight grabs my man's jersey, and it was Laurent Koscielny. You're talking about Laurent Koscielny. He grabs his jersey and throws him down. Ref calls nothing, and he gets to go on and score. And no, that one doesn't count.
That was the 6-0 day, though.
That doesn't count. You can't say that one because VAR would have VAR. You know what? Never mind.
We won't talk about VAR. But no, my favorite will always be the goal against Tottenham to pretty much lock up Leicester winning the league.
To knock them out, yeah.
It was. I mean, technique-wise, it was incredible. I mean, upper 90. Took a little. I mean, he didn't even take a touch. He just fired it up in the upper 90, and that was kind of his brilliance. That was the thing. Like, we were talking about how he was lazy, and he was. There's no question about it. But can you imagine just how incredible he would have been if he even seemed to really care, other than just playing the game to play the game?
Imagine if he had Ronaldo's ethic.
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh.
Do you guys remember what Kobe Bryant said about Shaquille O'Neal? I'm sure you do, Lewis.
Oh yeah.
As a basketball fan, he said they asked Kobe. He said, how good would Shaq have been if he had your work ethic? If he had Kobe's work ethic? Kobe immediately goes, I'd have 12 rings.
Right.
He said Shaq could have been the best of all time if he'd have worked. And I mean, I feel like as good as Eden Hazard is, he sleeps through the warm-up. He shows up with 4 minutes to play and then comes in and smashes everybody and just destroys it. I want to ask a question. There's been a lot of comparisons. I've heard Mo Salah being compared to Hazard and who's better, who's in your prime, blah, blah, blah. And we did our bracket and everything. But if you guys recall the 11-12 season where Robin Van Persie literally put Arsenal on his back and carried us to 4th place, how would you compare that performance that season to the season where Hazard was kind of doing the same thing? But didn't y'all do one better? Didn't y'all like win stuff that season as well?
Won the Europa.
Yeah. Was that the Europa season?
He won the Europa. Single-handedly won us our Europa.
So was that the first season he played?
Him and Williams.
Was it?
Was that his first season?
I think it was his first season because
he's won 2 Europas with us.
And we got knocked out in Champions League, and we ended up winning the Europa. So we actually held the Champions League and the Europa at the same time for like a 5-day period.
And then he came and won the Europa again with us.
Yeah.
So just by saying that's probably a bit more impressive than the 4th place trophy.
Well, I mean, the thing though is you watch players and there are certain players. I know I mentioned this all the time about killers and whatnot. Eden was not a killer by any means, but he was so good that you could expect him to either assist a goal or score a goal in every match. Like, you could expect it. So you went into a match thinking, all right, as long as Eden doesn't get hurt,
he's worth one.
No matter who we're playing,
he's worth one, right?
Yeah.
So, Lewis, I'm going to ask you this. Is Roberto Martinez responsible for killing his Belgium career, Hazard's Belgium career?
No, he's not. But the reason I say no is because it was sort of I wouldn't say a clash of personalities, but I think it was a personality thing where, for example, when Hazard was leading Belgium had a really, really good team when they were young, like center halves, wing backs,
when Company was still playing.
They have Fulani. I mean, come on now.
They had a really good team, but the issue with that team was
throw alone, man.
Yeah, the issue with that team was there were too many individual stars. And because they were individual stars, they didn't have any cohesion. We can't blame Martinez for that because you can't make stars play together. Like, especially on a national sort of level, because you can't do that. For example, the style of play that Hazard played when he was prime with Belgium, you look at it and you say, well, De Bruyne would never be able to be who he is based on the way Hazard plays. So they never would have coexist, which is why it was always the question, well, is De Bruyne that good when Hazard was in his prime? Because he could never play the way he played in his club with Hazard because of just the way he played. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, obviously, again, you have, like, Lukaku was there, Benteke was there when they were decent. They were not bad at this time. They were decent, but they couldn't play the style of play they played if Hazard played his way. Because Hazard and you got to think Hazard had been carrying the team. So the teams were like, hey, man, he could do the same thing for us. And if we think about it now, I mean, I don't know how accurate it is, but my memory is he was probably like the third guy. It was like Messi, Ronaldo here, and then Hazard and Bale were like right there. So Hazard was like on the cusp, like you said, like X said as well as you, Patrick. If he put in the work, the guy, he was the next one up.
Yep.
And so what they did is they looked at these guys and they said, they watched Ronaldo and they said, well, you know, he carried the team, but they ignored that Ronaldo never did anything with his nation. And then they watched Messi and they saw the same thing, ignoring that Messi had done nothing with Argentina either. And then he said, well, let's just do the same thing with Hazard, ignoring that it didn't work either way. And the funny thing is that hindsight is 2020 or maybe 2015, depending on how you see. If they had allowed De Bruyne to be De Bruyne and let Hazard just be the face, Belgium would have won something. They would have, because he would have got all the plaudits because he was the team's leader.
Yeah. But they never really built it around him.
Messi did. It's like Messi, all the other guys around Messi were good. All those guys were good. And Messi just got the plaudits. Because, I mean, if we look at, I mean, we've already had the discussion, Griezmann and Mbappe in the tournament, easily.
Yeah.
But you look at Argentina, all the other guys did what they did. Julian Alvarez. I mean, you let the younger guys get their shine, and they were always going to defer. But that's not what they did. Argentina set the kind of standard for if you're a star, this is how you work around the star. And so, no, it's not Roberto Martinez. I mean, as much as it's easy for me to slag him off using the British term, right? But it wasn't on him. They just fell short across the board. Oh, I guess my Hazard moment is I don't have one because I couldn't stand him when he was at Chelsea. Because he was that guy where people was dragging on his shirt, most foul player in the Premier League, and steadily winning. Even though the funny thing is, I'm shocked they didn't win more with him there, but it's because he was content with being the number 3 guy in the world.
Well, it's not even that. It's just the chaos of Chelsea.
I hear you, but I'm saying he was content with it because if he had. And I'm being honest, if he had the Mbappe drive, I'm not even saying Mbappe's there, but if he had that Mbappe drive, I'm not even using Ronaldo, Mbappe, where I see those guys in front of me, I want that. He never wanted it. He was there off of natural talent.
That's crazy.
100%. Yep.
He was so low to the ground, you couldn't get the ball from him. Even if you came in like Ryan from CSU and tried to kick him, he would just bounce off you. It's crazy.
Dog.
Well, I was gonna say, I think it gets overlooked sometimes, but that World Cup in Russia, he was incredible. And I mean, he almost carried them just like Modric did. But Modric, I think had a more complete team.
I would agree with that.
I think that that Belgium team, while talented, was individuals. And come to find out they hate each other, so that makes it even better. But
stealing each other's wives and girlfriends and stuff.
I know, right?
Belgium can't get it right.
So I think, and the one thing that I really hate, I mean, we joke about him becoming a hamburglar at Real Madrid and all that. I really hate that he didn't get to be on that stage in play at the level that we saw him at Chelsea. Whether it was injury or just self-inflicted wounds, because that's the creme de la creme of club football, and it was a little frustrating to see him not really show what we saw at Chelsea, but it was also kind of nice to not see him do what we saw at Chelsea, because Chelsea came up against Real a couple times. And it would have been heartbreaking to lose to him, because he still had the ability. He didn't.
I always thought that was sad. I was a fan of the game. Like I say, I hated him. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I hated him so much. But as a fan of the game, like, it was sad how he just kind of disappeared at Madrid.
He was supposed to have the career, and it's not done. It's just started. That Bellingham is doing right now. That's what he was supposed to be. He's supposed to be that.
Well, you cannot give, and to his defense, you cannot give someone with his mentality that type of injury and expect them to take, if he doesn't take practice serious, he's not going to take PT serious.
Rehab, yeah.
He's not going to take rehab serious. Rehab, you're going to give someone with the mentality of, oh, I'm good enough and I'm just going to sit around and play video games. Time. His job is to now literally rest and to play video games
and eat hamburgers.
Like, he's not coming back from that, man. He's just not.
But doesn't that make you, like, as a human, doesn't that make you kind of worried about what's next for him in life then? Because
he's got enough, man. He made a bag going to Madrid.
But I'm not talking about money, because this is not about money at this point. It's about the person, right? And if we look at it, right? So, for example, we used Ronaldinho as an example. He went to jail. And so you have to kind of look at these guys and say, well, okay, you were always good enough to be on the stage, and now there's no stage for you. What are you going to do? And as much as we think money lasts forever, it doesn't. No, I mean, right. And the funny thing is he has money, but think about how many celebrities, and I mean celebrity athletes, who have gone broke.
Well, yeah, they overspend. They all overspend and don't,
because they think they make that same money for the rest of their life, and they forget that 5-year window that you made a ton of money is supposed to last you for the next 70 years. Yeah. And you can't spend how you spent for 5 years like you did for 70, because then you will run out of money in 5 years. Actually, you'll run out faster because there's nothing more coming in.
Yeah.
And so I look at that, and I don't say it like in a negative sense, but I do worry about like what happens to these guys in life, because look at the former stars who made, I mean, it's obviously they don't make the money like guys make now, but they made a lot of money for their time. So we can't like act like they didn't make money. And so those guys who made money, they got fat, they got sick, they did drugs. And I mean, what's this? You really, and the thing about it is you say, if you're the eat the poor, eat the rich kind of person, then you're fine with it. But I'm not an eat the rich person. I like people to be good in life. And you look at that, he's not going to date. It's unlikely he's going to David Beckham his life.
No.
He doesn't have that garage.
No, his best bet is to do, or to get roped in with what William and David Luiz did, which they just open a couple restaurants in London. They never have to buy beers again. They just hang around and be local Chelsea, North London celebrities. Like,
well, do you think that his reputation for laziness will hinder any chance at coaching? Do you think people won't want to work with him because they think he has no ethic? Which could be wrong. He could totally have an ethic for coaching and have a joy for developing, younger players. Yeah. He could. That could totally be a thing. We don't know, but I think that reputation might hinder him.
I just think, I think that's the problem, is he wasn't recognized as a lead. Like, as much as he was the guy, he was not the leader. He was just the guy. He was just the guy to make the goal happen. He was not a leader on any of those.
Well, maybe by example, but
right.
But it was just literally and the thing about it, Patrick mentioned it. He just lifted up the team. If you don't know how you lift the team up, then how can you teach anyone else that? And the thing about it is, Michael Jordan is probably the greatest example, to use a quick basketball reference. Again, how I feel about GOATs, but Michael Jordan was one of the greatest players ever to step on the floor, and he lifted teams all the time. The second he had to make decisions and give people directions,
those poor Charlotte Hornets. The poor Charlotte Hornets. Thank God he sold them.
He sold the team. He sold
them finally.
But that's the example. Now you hope that he has good people in his life to be that. But then Jake, you mentioned coaching. Well, Wayne Rooney is another example. And I don't know if I sent this to you, but like there are scathing freaking assessments of him as a manager. There's like, he's not a manager. He's just Wayne Rooney. And he's there to sell tickets. And the funny thing is when he and DC United split on that day, which was funny because I was at the game, and they made the announcement. Literally, the clock went, the horn went, man. The announcement went out literally the second after that. I mean, the second after that it went out, which means it was done when he walked in the stadium.
Yeah.
And so you look at that, and you're like, they literally announced it as people are walking out of the stadium that he's not going to be there anymore, with an effect immediately. And they said, he has no future planned. 3 days later, he's hired by Birmingham. And you're like, and then the assessment is Well, what's he going to do for Birmingham? Because when he was with Derby, he barely did anything. He was a player manager and couldn't lead them. They still got relegated. So what is he supposed to do? Is he just?
But look who's making decisions at Birmingham.
It's an American. An American owns the team now, and so
It's not just an American.
No, but I agree. But
it's Tom Brady.
And they're just trying to sell tickets. That's what they're doing. And you know the best thing, worst thing to happen. It's great for the United States to connect to a story in football in England with Wrexham, but it's also the worst thing because every celebrity is thinking they can do Wrexham. Everyone, you can't have 14 Wrexham stories. It's not going to happen like that. And so they think Wayne Rooney will be there because then he'll be the face. I'm sure they have an Amazon. What's the behind the scenes thing called? I forget. Whatever the Amazon thing is. They do.
All or nothing.
Yeah, they're going to do. Promise you they do one of those in Birmingham. Birmingham is what I think the third biggest city in the country. Makes it even easier. And it's Wayne Rooney. And Wayne Rooney can be like, oh, I came from London. I mean, from DC and London. And Jude Bellingham played here. And they're just going to, it's going to be ugly, man.
That's a good point. It's a good point you've made.
Plays here. So, of course, you know, the brother's always better than the younger brother's always better than the older brother. So, you know.
No, that's a good point about you can't, you know, I mean, how many, because Michael B. Jordan is at Bournemouth as well. Like, how many people are trying to do this, you know, and then
JJ Watt.
You have it from top to bottom. Absolutely. You have it from top to bottom. You have Bowley trying to do it with the biggest, highest profile possible. And then, I mean, I think another thing that is going to, and this is neither here nor there, but another thing that, you know, Tom Brady and Michael B. Jordan and JJ Watt are kind of underestimating is none of those guys are Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds is a superstar. He's an absolute superstar. And I know Tom Brady is, you know, the GOAT or whatever and all this, but you know, Ryan Reynolds is beloved and he's into all kinds of different stuff. And he's got more money than any of us actually know, you know, because every time you see him on a Mint Mobile commercial, he owns that too.
But he started at the bottom and think about how he's done it. He started with tiny things. These guys are trying to come in the middle.
My point exactly. They're not him. They're not. They don't have, you know.
Well, it's humility. He's willing to start there.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting.
I don't
with Liverpool.
Yeah.
He's got a minority stake in Liverpool.
But the funny thing about LeBron. Yeah. LeBron is sensible because LeBron was like, I'm just there. I'm gonna be a presence. People will know, but I'm not trying to make decisions. He understood his role. These other guys are trying to run the team.
Didn't LeBron hire a money manager, like immediately?
He hired two of them
when he first got the contract out of high school. That's why he was in the Sprite commercials for a long time. If you remember that too.
Yeah, the dunk commercials.
Yeah, I think they definitely did it right. And I think that you know, I'm bringing it back in. I'm hoping that Hazard can figure something out and that that he just doesn't just disappear. I expect to see him looking like, you know, R9. Say what?
I think he'll go back to Lille in some fashion.
Oh, really?
I mean, there was rumors that he was going to actually go play a year there and then retire. And then he just decided not to do anymore.
My man ain't in shape. My man,
he's not in shape.
My man ain't in no.
He just decided he didn't want to try to get in shape.
No. Next thing you know, Hazard's the fitness coach at Lille.
Oh no! Oh no! I don't know, guys. Run like 3 laps, be done.
Go jog half the field. Do what you want. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, you just gotta feel it, man. You just gotta know you're gonna hit one on Sunday and believe, and then you do, and then you know, then you're me, and everyone's like, no.
And then you're me. Greatest words a coach has ever said. Just be me.
Just be me.
Do what I do.
I wonder if that's how Thierry Henry coached at one point.
No, he's actually got a lot of respect for coaching.
I think that's how Frank taught or coached.
Frank Lampard.
Yeah.
You know that I scored lots of goals.
Yeah.
Go do that.
Go do that.
Go do that.
You see how Chelsea played from 03
to
05? Go do that.
Goodness gracious. Well,
watches his former highlight
Yeah.
But
Well, definitely. Go ahead.
yeah, one thing I like to highlight about Eden's career at Chelsea and even total, he got to play with the old, like he is that middle ground for. I mean, that's why he was like one of the only ones there at the time at certain times for Chelsea. He was that middle ground. He got to play with absolute legends of the game in today. Like he played on the same team as Frank Lampard. He played with John Terry. He got to play with Diego Costa. And he ushered in, like he played most of his career with Willian, Aspilicueta. Like he bridged this gap.
Didn't he overlap with Drogba as well?
Drogba came back and played with him.
Came back and played with him. Yeah,
Okay.
after that one.
And they ended up winning the Premier League that year.
Of course they did.
Yep.
So
that was a Jose year.
You can't give someone like Eden Hazard. And that was the big thing, right? Like you give someone like Eden, he's dangerous in both ways. He'll score on you or he's going to assist. Give him somebody like Diego Costa, which they did. You give him somebody like Drogba, which they did. Some big man to hit that you also have to worry about. You don't know who to track. You don't know which defender to run with or to stay with the ball. Because if you stay with the ball, he's just going to deke you. Now he's going to put one in top bin. Or you leave Drogba or Diego Costa wide open. Like, it's just I really enjoyed his career because, like I said, it was hard seeing those guys go, but he really took upon this mantle of like being. He's a club legend. He will be. He's got a banner going up. He'll go down and like he'll always had this revered memory in Chelsea's mind. Just even if it ended bad or however you want to look at it, or he didn't get what we wanted to out of him afterward. I think after he left Chelsea, it just looks like he lost his love, man. Like the game, he just loved the game, and he's not the type of player to win on hustle. Yeah. So it's all mental.
Right.
And if you remember why he left Chelsea, because he wanted to play for Zidane, and then Zidane got let go.
Whoops.
Whoops.
Sounds like Tuchel bringing in Aubameyang.
Yep.
So he had to play for Ancelotti, and I mean, he was not shy to admit that he admired Zidane and wanted to play for Zidane. And that's why
him and Carlos just butted heads from day one too. They hate each other.
Well, the funny thing about that is that Carlo was a manager, and Zidane was an aura manager, and that's the difference. And so, I think maybe Hazard is Bellingham if Zidane is there, because you got to think about it. If you remember those Zidane years, Champions League couldn't touch him. In the league, you could touch him.
Yeah,
you could touch him in the league. They didn't really care about the league a whole lot, which means that he was able to prep them for that. Which is why he left, because there was pressure on him because they were performing poorly in the league.
No. Didn't they lose Ronaldo the same year that they brought in?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
How they brought him on.
Think about the gap that you're trying to fill for that.
Yeah.
And you're supposedly the number 3 guy.
And you're not working like that dude was working?
Yeah, no.
Absolutely. No. Well, I think one of the biggest things that Chelsea fans are going to remember for Hazard is that he always was exciting. He was always bringing the excitement. Whenever he got on the ball, it was definitely, good things tended to happen. He wouldn't play defense to save his life. But I definitely think that the fond memories come when we think of him, or when y'all at least think of him going forward.
He ended up getting a manager fired. I'm trying to remember which one. Maybe it was AVB. No, it wasn't AVB.
It was Villas-Boas, right?
Maybe. I think it was, because Villas-Boas played him as a false 9 against, I want to say it was Juventus or something. And it was a total train wreck. Total train wreck. Couldn't get the ball to him. I think Chelsea had like 30% possession in that game. And pretty much it led to, because Villas-Boas was let go after. So Di Matteo. Okay, so
Di Matteo first because he won the Champions League for us,
right? And then they brought in Villas-Boas.
Fired.
You win the biggest trophy in our club's history. Fired.
So it actually might have been our Roberto Di Matteo that played him as a false 9.
I thought it was Robert. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Roberto. Yeah.
Yeah. It might have been him because Villas-Boas came after because they had Gus for the rest of the season.
That's when we had Louis. That's when we had Louis Remy with
crazy.
Remy. Yep.
Yeah. Who just retired, by the way, as well. So shout out to Louis Remy.
Nice. Y'all making me feel old.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Hazard himself feeling pretty old, but we'll go ahead and move on as well to somebody.
You know what Hazard's gonna do? He's gonna franchise like 18,000 McDonald's, so he'll never have to worry about the hamburgers again.
Oh my god!
He'll dress up as a hamburger too at grand openings.
Yeah, awesome. Well, speaking of somebody who should be dressing up, maybe not as a hamburglar, but more with a big, large red nose, the U.S. men's national team. Typical performance, I would say. We looked halfway decent in the first half, and then as soon as the other team makes little adjustments and figures out what we're doing, we have nothing to speak of.
So let's talk about it.
Oh my God, Triple G's game management is killing me.
So first off, I love Tyler Adams. I think he's a fantastic player, but he should not. If he's not playing, you should not look totally hapless. Like you should not get overran like we do. I know we miss him. I know we do, but let's be honest. I mean, he's good. He's good. But if you're wanting to compete at the highest level, a guy that – where's he at now? Bournemouth?
Yeah. He's still injured, though.
Huh?
He's still coming back from injury.
Yeah, he's still injured. Yeah, injured, yeah. But a guy at Bournemouth should not be the reason why your team looks totally disorganized and just looks clueless on defense.
I personally think that Weston McKennie has just been letting us down for a while, and I'm not Greg Berhalter's biggest fan, to say the least, but he's all over the place. Some guys he just cannot stand and won't even let near the team, John Brooks, and some guys he just won't stop picking.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get it, McKennie. High-profile American playing at Juventus, Champions League, whatnot, big, but he's just not my favorite. And I think he's who gets dropped if, when Tyler Adams comes back in.
See, they play well together, though, when Tyler Adams is in there.
That's because McKennie doesn't have to do any defense. He doesn't have to do much defensive work. But I don't think he gives enough going forward. I think we have.
No, I don't think so either.
I think if Adams, Musa, and Reyna is probably a better three. I think Musa is underrated, man. Plays at
I love Musa.
AC Milan.
Fantastic. Yeah. It's fantastic. So this is from Hercules Gomez. United States struggles Saturday versus Germany. It's 0.09 expected goal from open player, the team's fewest in any game under Greg Berhalter. 25% aerial duels won are its second fewest under Berhalter. In 2021, it was 23.5 versus Switzerland. And since September of 2022, the team is 3-4-3 under Berhalter in all competitions.
That includes the World Cup.
That includes the World Cup.
Yeah, man. It's.
How does my man get his job back? Like I want whoever he got
baffling
to get his job back for him. Like I want to hire that person.
I feel like
that's the MVP right here.
I feel like just nobody wanted the job. Nobody else was. What are we gonna do? Turn around and give it to Claudio Reyna? Like,
was it Latupi? No, I don't remember. There was interest though.
Lopetegui? No.
Any one of us four could have took that job and done a better job than 4-3-3-3. 4-3-3, right? That's what you said.
3-4-3.
3-4-3.
I'm looking at the thing real quick. Interjection. I didn't know that the United States was ranked higher in FIFA rankings in Germany before this game.
FIFA rankings
are a joke.
Are the biggest absolute joke that I've ever seen in my life.
Like Italy was like top 10 in the world. They didn't even make the World Cup.
They didn't even make the tournament, and they were like 11th.
Wait, Italy might miss the Euros too, right?
They play England tomorrow.
Ooh.
It's at the top. No, they're at the top. They're both in second place. We'll get there. We'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll definitely speak on England, but
no, I mean, I enjoy watching the U.S. men's national team. I try to watch them as much as possible, but after I saw Christian's goal, and then I saw that Gundogan scored right before half, I turned it off because I knew exactly what was going to happen after the second half. Nagelsmann was going to have him figured out, and they were going to control, and that's exactly what happened.
Yo,
I mean, that was a golazo, though.
Oh yeah, it was.
That was a golazo. That was why didn't he do that more often at Chelsea? You know,
I have my thoughts. I won't say anything.
Yeah.
I won't say anything at all.
Yeah. We don't need to speak. But speaking of Gio Reyna, similar situations. I heard that it was like a planned, prepared thing for him to only play half the game. Is he still? Maybe he's still coming back from an injury. He's not starting at Dortmund, or is he at Dortmund right now?
Yes,
I think he came in at the weekend, but he was a sub. So maybe he's still coming back. But
probably.
I thought he was okay. I think he's someone we can build around, though.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
As long
that
as
was the frustrating thing about Qatar.
yeah.
Like, you're lacking that type of player, and you're feuding with his family.
That's why Berhalter still being there is beyond me, because it's just more and more chaos. And every game because we play Ghana tomorrow. What's this with playing old rivals?
Well, they're part of a tour because Mexico plays Germany tomorrow, and
Okay.
Mexico played Ghana on Sunday.
Oh, all right, yeah. Well, I mean,
they were in Charlotte.
Yeah.
I'm
just saying, like, Germany knocked us out in 2002. Ghana knocked us out in 2006. Are we trying to get some just a little edge to these games? Because if you heard the
10, didn't they?
No, we beat. Yeah, you're right. No, Ghana knocked us out 2006, and then
I thought it was in.
And then again in 2010. They knocked us out twice, and then we beat them in 2014. John Brooks with the header in the 90th minute, in the 93rd minute to beat Ghana. I remember I was so pumped. You remember Brian from the World Cup shows? I was watching the game with him. He ran out the door, sprinted out the door, and ran off down the street. I ran out after him, and I was like, there was people in the street playing or whatever, and I was like, hey, did you see a guy? He's like, yeah, he ran around the house. We were pumped, man. We were excited. You
mentioned John Brooks, and I think that's the frustrating thing about all of this. His last performance for the United States was terrible. There's no question about it. He shouldn't have been playing for a while. I understand why he didn't get to go to the World Cup, but we are now in that time frame where we're trying to build the team for 2026, right? So I understand wanting a strong lineup against Germany, even though I think people hyped that game way too much, and now it's been a total disappointment. But he needs to get in because our back line is still an issue. Tim Ream can't play in the next World Cup. He just can't. I mean, he's going to be like 40. I
agree, but he's had a fantastic season and a half. However many games we're into this season, but I agree completely. It's not going to last.
I mean, he's not Thiago Silva, and Brazil's given up on Thiago Silva. So, I just I'm concerned. Okay, it's kind of hypocritical of me because the one thing that Berhalter is really bad about is bringing in MLS players when he should be bringing in the internationals, or bringing in guys overseas. I'm concerned that he's going to fall in love with a certain lineup and not look to build the pool. And as a result, we're going to be even worse come 2026 because we don't have enough. We don't have enough depth.
And it'll be 9 of the same guys.
Yeah, exactly. And that's my biggest concern going forward. And it would not surprise me if that's kind of what happens.
Yeah.
Unless there's a bunch of MLS players that, you know, he decides to fall in love with, and then that will change. But then we'll have another argument at that point.
Yeah. Well, hopefully some can come through for sure. We'll see what he does tomorrow against Ghana. I expect pretty much the same. Because that's what, I mean, if you look at his, you know, individual performances, it's all kind of similar. It's all kind of, you know, okay, he's switched us from long ball, and we do play the ball around and pass the ball around because the technical quality of each individual is a bit higher than it has been in days gone by. But, you know, just like we've said in the Premier League, the difference makers are the teams with elite coaches, you know, and Berhalter he's struggled against every notable coach he's come up against.
Even Louis got fired in the Swedish league.
Even Louis Van Gaal. Even Van Gaal just swept him aside like it was nothing. Yeah. No disrespect to Louis Van Gaal, but he's not Ancelotti. You know, he's not Guardiola, and he's just, you know, dismissing Berhalter like it was nothing.
That was a freaking training exercise for the Dutch.
You know,
I mean, that's all it was. It looked like it too.
It was a practice. Yeah, it was a practice for the Argentina game.
And unfortunately, it looks like we're stuck. We're stuck with Berhalter, and so I mean, I support him. I didn't support him coming back in. I support the team. So you know, I hope we can do something, and maybe we'll figure it out for the Copa America and have some hope for the summer after.
I mean, the best thing that could happen to the U.S. men's national team is that they lay an egg. But we can't do this for 2026, and they get rid of them.
Get rid of them. Yeah.
I mean, I hate it because I plan on trying to go to some games for Copa America.
Yeah.
If they come around here, I'm sure they'll be in Atlanta at some point. But if our failure allows us to get serious about 2026, because I mean, you and I, we all know this. The U.S. doesn't have a golden generation. This is probably the closest that we've had in the last 30 years of a potential golden generation.
I mean, 02 was strong. That was
24 years, so I'm pretty close.
Don't say things like that. Oh my God.
Patrick, stop.
It's only been 21 years so far. I mean,
like a whole human.
You let that
I graduated high school 20 years ago. So I mean,
just stop.
Stop.
I feel it, okay? But my point being is
that's what I said. That's a whole human. That's why I said that. That's a whole human.
So the point being is that, you know, this talent, maybe we continue to cultivate it, and hopefully we do, but we won't have the collective talent that we're going to have going into 26 for a while again. Mm-hmm. And if we waste it on Greg Berhalter, and I know that the team voted to have him back or whatever, that's supposedly the story, which CP10, I got some words for you, man, if that's the case. You really. But, you know, if we waste this, you know, we talk about, you know, MLS and this, that, and the other, and, you know, Messi and blah, 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 blah. You just throw it all down the drain. It is all a total waste of money. It is all a total waste of resources if you keep Greg Berhalter into 2026, because he's not going to win anything. He's not even going to get us out of the round of 16, even in a 48.
If we get out of group, yeah.
You know, a 48 team.
Yeah, it's one less team to play against in that format. We would only have to play 2 games in the group, and it still don't like our chances.
No,
you know. But speaking of tanking games, we'll move on and we'll take a look at the European qualifiers. Ireland have beaten Gibraltar today by 4-0. And the Netherlands have also beaten Greece by 1-0. Now, this is in France's group, who've won 6 straight games, so we won't speak on them. And each group has 2 automatic qualifications, first and second, obviously. And so the results mean that Holland have now gone ahead of Greece on goal difference. They're tied on 10 points with Netherlands has 2 games to play. Greece has 1 and Ireland has 1. Now, because of the Nations League and the UEFA's need to make our international friendly breaks mean something, if Ireland want to Ireland pretty much can't qualify directly. Mm-hmm. They would need both Greece and the Netherlands to lose out, and they would have to win by a large amount in their last game. Which sets up the scenario, because of their Nations League performances, they have a better chance of qualifying if they tank the game versus Netherlands. If they win,
it's over.
If they beat the Netherlands, that means Greece will have a better chance of qualifying in second position. And so the Netherlands have a better Nations League coefficient or however rank than Ireland. So if the Netherlands need the playoff spot because they didn't finish second, they'll knock Ireland out. So Ireland need Holland to finish second. And so they're going to take a dive.
How many own goals do you think happened?
What has UEFA done? This is all on UEFA. What? It all comes back to the Nations League for me.
Yeah.
Why? Why did you have to make a friendly break into an actual tournament? That's all it was to just make these extra games competitive. And now look what you've done.
I mean, they're just asking for people to take it serious and for serious players to get hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. You see what old Rodri did to Odegaard the last time Spain played Norway. Thankfully, yesterday it was none of that criminal activity. Yes, I'm looking at you, Lewis. Staring really hard at you.
Did his time now, right? Rodri's back.
Thankfully, he didn't kick Odegaard. I wonder if Rodri would have kicked Martin Odegaard really hard in the game yesterday if Haaland would have come over and defended Odegaard against Rodri.
Or Rodri against Odegaard.
Oh no, if Haaland just comes over and gives Rodri a high five. Yeah, good one. Yeah, way to go. The Ireland group's out of control. Who knows what's going to happen?
Do you just not show? Can they just not show up? Like, is that a?
Just purposely forfeit the match?
Just throw your hands up.
Like, I don't get it though, because they're 6 points behind Greece.
Right. It's about the fact that the Netherlands have a better Nations League ranking than Ireland does, and if the Netherlands finished third in the group, that means they will get a playoff spot based on their Nations League rank. But if Greece finished third, Ireland has a better Nations League rank than Greece. And so Ireland will get into the playoff B spot.
So then they need to give the Netherlands 20 goals. So if they end up tied again,
it doesn't even matter. They just need the Netherlands to finish second.
They just give me 1-0. That's enough.
They need Holland to finish second. And with the win today over Greece, that means that they're tied on points with Holland having a game in hand on Greece. And that game in hand is versus Ireland. So
I see.
Yeah. So the only way Ireland makes the Euros is if the Netherlands finish second, which would require them to lose Oh, okay. Here we go. I did see the penalty. I did see the lasers in Van Dyke's eye when he went up. Me and my wife were actually talking about that, and I was saying if they caught that guy, they'd ban you. You can't do that. And in today's day and age, I wonder if they actually gone and got that guy. But yeah, I agree. I'm actually I love the orange. I love the orange jerseys. I'm not. I wasn't a big fan of the Dutch a few months ago, but I definitely would rather see them qualify over Greece. Watching it, Lauren made a joke about it must have been the commentator's first game. Imagine your first ever game is a Greece match, and you're sitting there having to pronounce all those last names.
I'll just say S after everything.
Yeah. Make sure there's lots of O's, the occasional K and a Y, but always end with an S. Always. I think you're muted, Patrick.
Yeah. I said just say Papadoulis. It'll fit.
Yeah, it'll fit for sure. But yeah, interesting that when Cody Gakpo is injured, it's Wout Weghorst up top.
We should ask our Dutch guy here what he thinks about that.
Yeah. Sit-ins for Sithis is this guy's name. If you're still here, tell me what you think about Wout Weghorst.
Isn't he nominated for like Golden Boy?
What? He's 97 feet tall. He was never a boy. He's absolutely gigantic. And he's not a boy. That's a man. But he steps up. Oh, yep, there you go. Was that an actual? Yes. Any of you guys want to take a run at that name?
It's Gia Kalmakis.
Kalmakis.
Nailed it.
Is Gaia Kalmakis?
Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
You have to have an S at the end. I knew that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Weghorst steps up, and it was a terrible penalty. Right down the center. Goalkeeper reads the right direction. And so that resulted in 93rd minute El Capitan. And you got to get, we've definitely given Van Dijk his proper slagging, as they say, last season. But I think he's come back. He's looked decent. And in this one, he stepped up. Nation needed a goal, needed this one to get back, in contention to finish second in the group. Steps up, does it, puts it home. And good for him. Probably good for him going forward as well. Speaking of going forward, England play Italy tomorrow.
Big game.
And it is a big game, both at the top of the group there. And I expect the lineup. Oh, here we go. He has responded. Let's see what we got here. I like Wout Weghorst, more or last resort, gives it all. The goal against Argentina, yep. And his penalties, yeah. These penalties are not great.
You know how to take pens.
What in the world? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I get that. Who would have taken it though? I mean, when I saw that happen though, my first knee-jerk reaction was, man, I would have rather Nathan Ake take that penalty.
Just blast it.
I mean, couldn't have Denzel Dumfries or someone like that? I don't know. But yeah,
Young on the field.
He was not. Frankie did not play. So I think Weghorst has his moments. I think that he was completely misused by Ten Hag, which really made me not like him very much. But that could have just be a result of the dumpster fire that United is. But yeah, I think that the Dutch will be just fine. I think that they definitely looked better. They definitely put it on Greece. So I expect them to qualify directly, especially when Ireland lays an egg on the field on purpose. But yeah, we'll look to England and X. I know you're pretty excited about tomorrow.
Yeah.
I expect the lineup to be way different than the Australia game. It'll be back to without Saka, who's the strongest front line? Obviously Kane. Your front four, Kane, Bellingham, and then who you got?
I
Rashford?
think he would probably start Grealish in
Grealish,
Start
Rashford?
He'll start Grealish. Yeah.
Well, let me get this. Let me make a distinction here. Not who Southgate. Yeah, there were a lot of Dutch guys injured for sure.
Yeah, because Memphis did.
Yeah. But not who Southgate is gonna play. Who would you play, X? Because we know Southgate, is probably gonna play Harry Maguire tomorrow.
Yeah. 100%. So, yeah, it goes Kane. I would go Rashford. I just don't know if I would start Grealish in this squad.
Against Italy, though, Italy's not really like a flying kind of fast team. I think Grealish's control could be, the way he wins fouls and holds the ball up, is press resistant. I think it could work. I mean, he's gonna be facing Jorginho. Look out.
All you gotta do is run. That's all you gotta do. All you gotta do is just run a little bit. You'll be okay.
Yeah. But do you think Bellingham just controls this game?
I do.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think Rice is going to play in the midfield. That'll help. I think Bellingham drops back, plays in the midfield.
Yeah, I agree that Southgate's struggling, and he does need to use what he has up top for sure. I agree. I think most people are tending to agree with that comment. I unfortunately can't pop that up on the screen.
You know what's interesting is I'm looking at the table, and
I think Jamie Madison might get a start as well, but
yeah, I can see that. But I'm looking at the table, and Italy and England both have their games in hand. But Italy doesn't necessarily have to win the game; they just have to not get blown out because they're on 10. Ukraine is on 10, and England. I mean, England looks like they're going to win anyways.
I thought when I looked at it, there was a shot that if Italy lose this and Ukraine win out, Ukraine go instead of Italy.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at it. It's England has 13, Italy has 10, Ukraine has 10, and the goal difference is Italy is +6 and Ukraine is +1.
But if that's what I'm saying, if Italy takes a loss here,
they would have to. But they have a game in hand, and so
against Ukraine.
So they could lose the game and still sit on 10 points as long as they don't get smoked by England. They would have goal difference.
Yeah, as long as it's not 5, where Ukraine make up the goal difference.
Right.
I see.
Unless now, I don't know if I gotta look. Did they lose to them?
Ukraine won today.
No,
or yesterday.
Right.
Oh, then I don't see how it would be an issue for them. Yeah.
I thought there was a chance for Ukraine to go into the second slot.
Yeah, Ukraine. Italy would have to get smoked by England tomorrow for that to mean anything.
Not just an L.
Yeah, man. They should be qualifying. I mean, I think they're pretty safe. Right.
Yeah, I'm popping it up. Right now.
I mean, but to answer your question, it's Kane, Foden, Rashford, Rice, Bellingham, Madison, Walker, Pickford.
Yeah.
In goal. Fill in the other 2 backs if you want to.
Stones.
Stones.
Has to be Stones.
Has to be. I mean, he'll play Maguire, but we'll need. I thought Ukraine. Yeah, Ukraine has to win.
Ukraine definitely. Ukraine definitely has to win.
Yeah, I thought when I looked at it, it was. I thought I saw the path for Ukraine to go forward. I'm like, okay, well, that's probably going to happen because what a story.
Tomorrow.
What a story.
Yeah,
right, they'll win against they'll pick up their 3. Italy will lose, so Ukraine will be on 13. Italy will be on 10.
This assumption that Italy will lose.
The assumption that Italy's going to lose.
If England does not beat Italy in this game.
But Italy will still have a game because Ukraine will have 7 games played.
Who's the game in hand against?
Probably North Macedonia.
Oh, they just play them twice. Oh, that would suck. Macedonia's got to
man.
stand up big, baby.
It is North Macedonia.
Yo, if
Oh,
Italy
wait,
don't
wait.
qualify, if Italy don't
Wait.
qualify for this
No.
again,
They control their fate because North Macedonia is there, and then the next game is against Ukraine, and it's an away game.
Ukraine can qualify in Ukraine.
Yeah, they have.
If they play the game there. I don't know where they play their home game.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's true. Right.
Haven't they been playing in Turkey?
Oh, they might be playing in Turkey.
But so Ukraine, if Italy loses tomorrow, Ukraine wins, they control their own fate because they would have to play Italy, and that would be the tiebreak.
Yeah. He's asked about Gibraltar. Just gonna throw this out there. Ireland beat Gibraltar 4-0 today.
Yeah, you should be good.
You should be good on that. So I'd be pretty pumped about those tickets because
just so you know, the goal difference for Gibraltar is -21.
holy crap.
They're leaking goals.
Wow.
It's worse than Burnley.
Wow. So they're playing in Poland, the Ukrainian teams. The league at least is playing in Poland. Yeah. Fair enough. But yeah, I think the Netherlands are gonna
That's true.
yeah. Fair enough. I think the Netherlands are gonna have no issues at all with Gibraltar. But yeah, I also agree with you, sir, that if Southgate just said, look, if Southgate just said, look, we're going to wreck teams. We're going to go score 4 or 5 goals every game. I mean, especially with Saka especially if Saka's healthy for next summer.
No excuse.
Like, is there a better front four in that tournament than even France? Because, like, Kane, Rashford, Saka, Bellingham. Kane, Foden, Saka, Bellingham.
Right, you've switched them out. It doesn't matter.
Foden, Rashford, Kane, Bellingham. Like,
I mean, it's just like Triple G. Like, he holds the team back. Like, there was no reason whatsoever with that England team that they didn't beat the United States.
No.
None.
It's English managers, man. We've been over again and again. They will not win until they appoint which they'll never do because they're English.
They did. Fabio Capello was one.
Sven Eriksson.
Oh yeah, Eriksson.
Before Capella. And he was he trashed a golden generation.
Right. They're just cursed.
Not like Martinez, though.
Not like Martinez.
No.
I don't know, man. The Gerrard, Lampard, Wayne Rooney.
He didn't know how to play them because you can't play them together.
You can't play Gerrard and Lampard in the same
field. And what is he supposed to do? Now, let's be honest. Lampard is at his peak. Gerrard is at his peak. Who are you telling to sit down?
Gerrard, I can answer that real quick.
Yeah, well, who are you asking? Who are you asking?
Me personally, Gerrard hits the bench. I don't.
As a manager, who you telling to sit down? You can't tell. He'd get thrown out.
The man who's bagging me goals.
You guys just play 2 8s. You just have to play 1 6, and both you dudes go forward.
Both you dudes play cam. Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. I agree. They have the talent. England definitely has the talent. They should. Bar France, they should win the tournament.
They should be smoking people for real.
Spain is loving your talk because Spain is like, yeah, forget about us.
We have.
Spain, man.
Spain just won the last European trophy, though.
I know.
Yeah, Spain's interesting. For me. I actually watched a little bit of their game versus Norway, and it kind of resembles some of their best teams, where it's pass, and some guys can pop up every now and again for goals, but they're relying on like Ferran Torres, Alvaro Morata is still starting for Spain, So
that man's played for literally everyone.
You know that,
Yeah.
especially since I do have a question, since there is a Dutch guy interacting with us. Like, there you go, right? So now, what if they win? What if the Netherlands says, you know what, Van Dijk is back to Van Dijk, where he's just dragging everybody around, and Memphis Depay is healthy, and he's popping in those goals, and Ake is Ake, and or Frankie is doing thing, and they win.
It's huge. They got Ronald Koeman at the helm. I mean, it's the coach to do it. I wouldn't be. It wouldn't shock me at all. No,
be a shock.
I don't think it would.
So we're talking about France. We're talking about Netherlands. Have y'all looked at Portugal and what they've done?
Their team is so stacked, but
they have 32 goals to 2 against. They have 24 points. Their goal differential is 30. Now, of course, they're Slovakia, Luxembourg, Iceland, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Liechtenstein.
There's 10 soccer players. There's 10 professionals in all of those countries.
You beat who's in front of you.
Wow, man. That group is awful.
Liechtenstein sounds like it's the country from Out of a Knight's Tale.
They got neg 24.
It sounds like they're made up papers.
Liechtenstein are on neg 24 goal difference.
So
They're
San Marino. Did y'all
8 losses
about San Marino?
that they got a huge following.
Now pause. Roberto Martinez is the manager of Portugal. You be careful.
Oh, I totally forgot about that. Totally forgot about that.
Another golden generation just flushed down the toilet. Have you looked at that squad?
Yes.
Have you looked at that squad?
Ruben Diaz, Diego Dalot.
Happy man.
You got Bruno Fernandes, Cristiano.
Bruno
is the crypt. All right, Yao Felix learned how to score again. Leao, it just goes. Jota, Neves.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, what would your tattoo be?
I would want to go to the Netherlands if they won the Euros, just because
the party
would be the greatest party.
The party in Amsterdam would be crazy.
The canals would be fun.
The canals of Amsterdam, yeah, it would be so awesome, for sure, man. Yeah, I think that Portugal have a shot if they don't listen to Roberto Martinez and they just let Ronaldo play our coach.
This is basically what should happen anyway.
Yeah, but that squad, man, they got a shot. Yeah. They should have a shot. At least, you know.
How is this group? Have you looked at all the groups?
I'm looking at them right now. Yeah, I got them up right now.
Albania, Czech Republic, Poland, Moldova, and Faroe Islands.
That's a poor group.
I'm looking at their team. Bernardo Silva didn't even play.
Wow,
crazy.
They are stacked
up. You want to talk about a crazy group? Wales, a shock victory over Croatia to stay alive.
Wow.
In the qualifying, like on the brink of elimination, they beat Croatia. It's crazy. And so they've set up. It's still dire. I looked at the situation. It's still dire because they play Armenia, who, because of the way fixtures work out, can still qualify in second place because they play both Croatia and Wales in their last 2 games. If they win out and Croatia and Wales lose out, then Armenia automatically qualifies. But Wales, in order to qualify, have to beat Armenia and then play Turkey, who are top of the group and just drew with Croatia. So it's going to have to be another Herculean performance from the Welsh.
Turkey beat Croatia recently.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I'm looking at Croatia right now.
There you go.
If Rodgers is on the team, and he is.
No, he's still got the armband. Like, I watched some of their game versus Turkey. I didn't see the end of it, so I didn't know that they had actually won. But
it is so crazy how small that country is and the talent they have on their team.
Yeah, that team is Marcelo Brozovic in the 6. It's Kovacic played.
Martial.
Gavardiol, yeah, they don't really have any names up front, but they're still putting in goals.
Yeah.
And that one's going to be interesting. That one's definitely coming down to the last day. And
Orsic is actually pretty good. He was really good for
Yeah.
Strasbourg, I think it was.
Yep. Plus Perisic was injured.
No, Salzburg.
Perisic is injured right now. Okay, yeah. But yeah, that's going to be Wales still have an outside shot. You remember this might be Wales' golden generation because they qualified for the World Cup for the first time in like 60 years last time round or something like that. I'll have to do my research to see how long it's been since they've qualified for Euros. But it's going to be big. They're going to, but I mean, the road is tough. The road is definitely tough because you would expect Croatia to wreck Armenia. But I haven't seen Armenia play, so not really sure.
I think they're fourth in the group, though. So, I mean, they're not awful.
Right? They're still in it with a shot. They still mathematically can get in there, So there's definitely some spicy things still going on in the Euros. Some teams have a game in hand. I'm not sure how it happens. Some teams only have one game left. Some teams have two. Speaking of teams that haven't qualified, Scotland have made it in after Spain beats Norway. That meant that Scotland qualified already. Yeah.
That's
the final of the National League Cruise for Spain and Rotterdam. Yeah.
That had to be wild.
I bet it was. Oh yeah, I watched that game actually.
The Croat government paid for everybody to go there. Hey, get on the coaches. Let's go.
It's like when Iceland was in the 2016 Euros, and
speaking of that,
they said like 30% of the nation traveled.
Went and looked for the Wales question. They were in the quarterfinals in 1976. They made the semifinals in 2016, and they were in round of 16 in 2020.
Well, there you go. So they have a better Euros. Yeah, they have a better Euros history than World Cup history. Well, there you go. Yeah, but they got it. Yeah. Croatia is still in that group as well, looking to make it. So it's gonna be tough for Wales. But hey, man, Gareth Bale.
I'm gonna ask the most random question ever as I'm going through the thing, and we can just say a yes or no because of the topic that could connect. But I didn't know. Like Israel, I forgot Israel was in the Euros, and they could they potentially qualify?
Maybe.
Because it looks like Romania plays the next and Switzerland plays the next, so they have 2 games left, so that's 6 points.
Well, they just abandoned a match. Like they were supposed to play Kosovo yesterday. They obviously didn't.
Right.
Honestly, this conflict or whatever might keep them from playing in general.
Well, the part of the reason I'm asking the question is because, some places, European history has shown that they use sport to kind of rally people and divert attention. So I'm kind of curious because I'm looking and it shows that Romania's next fixture is against Israel and Switzerland's next fixture is against Israel.
Yeah.
Well, Lewis, you just kind of hit the nail on the head while I was talking about Ukraine the way I was. That's why I think, honestly, that's why I'll call it. Italy lose to England. Ukraine wins out. Ukraine goes in. Like, that's just how I see this. That's how this plays in. Ukraine takes.
I mean, if we can fix games like we're about to see when they,
when they play there's this too.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, Maccabi Haifa is in UEFA Champions League.
Yes, they are. Absolutely, they're from Jerusalem, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
They scored on Juventus.
The stands. No, they scored against Paris. At one point, they were beating PSG, and the stands were literally shaking. The commentators couldn't believe it. I was watching that game too, man.
Yep.
So Israel has 2 games in hand right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, they have a really good chance to at least get into that playoff if they don't, finish top 2 in their
Were they in Nations League though? Because don't you have to be in Nations League to get into the B League playoffs? To get into the A, you have to be one of the best third place teams. To get into the B, it's about your Nations League.
They've messed
Okay.
this all up.
Yeah. Oh, it's all crazy.
It's confusing.
Yeah.
I'll
I'm
find
not
out.
sure. I'm not sure if they can or not.
But no, I was asking about San Marino earlier. There was an article on ESPN. They are chasing their first win in 20 years outside their day jobs.
Oof.
That's crazy.
Good luck, boys.
Woof. Yeah, they have a neg 24 goal difference.
It's not
Yeah.
looking good. It's not looking
Playing
good.
like CSU out there. Good job, boys.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate.
Definitely unfortunate.
Mm.
Let's see. One other thing to talk about today, very unfortunate. Did you hear about the Belgium-Sweden game being abandoned?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, here he is. Here it is right here. Yeah, this is what I was talking about.
What?
Yeah,
I didn't hear about
absolutely. Absolutely. They abandoned the game at halftime because the players refused to come back out after two Swedish fans were attacked and killed in Brussels. It was a whole thing. The cops made them stay at the stadium, made the Swedish fans stay at the stadium for a minute, separated all the Belgium fans, made them leave, and then they moved all of the Swedish fans to, like, the article said, a safe area.
What the world, man?
Yeah, it's really sad. I mean, yeah, and I haven't. That's the first I've heard about it being like a terrorist thing. So you know, I haven't looked into it much more than that. But yeah,
Wild.
definitely sad. Definitely really sad. And you just wouldn't expect that.
No, it's not what the
I mean,
game's
that's-
about. Yeah.
Sport's the one thing that's supposed to unite us all.
Yeah, it's the complete
mean-
opposite of what the whole thing's supposed to be about.
Yeah.
You know, it's the one thing where, you know, you see it in England. I mean, you see you know, different religious race and whatever, you know, come together for one common thing to see their team win. And you would think at a national level, you know, it would be the same way, but you know, it's sad that, you know, this is bleeding into sport because it's supposed to be the one thing that unites us, and obviously it's not in some places.
My response is going to be sort of apolitical. I'm going to agree and disagree with Patrick at the same time. I agree that it's supposed to unite us, but if we look at the way modern sport is being used, it's been politicized.
Very much
where
so.
we're showing movements of things, and we're supporting causes publicly in sport that that I'm not saying the players shouldn't be human and the fans shouldn't have opinions, but sport is also supposed to be an escape. And they've taken that escape away by
100%.
inserting causes regularly in sport. And like, for example,
100%.
I don't have an issue with, you know, them having the rainbow band, captain's band, but they inserted that into sport because they felt sport had the political clout to do it, and caused an issue in a World Cup. And you know, and so you look at this and you think about what's the fresh thing that's out there. And if we investigate anything, if you take any time to investigate what's going on in the Middle East, which has been going on since the 1940s and well before that, but
well before that too.
but specifically this issue is connected to the 1940s.
Yeah.
And you think about, well, what was happening in Europe before that? And you say, well, they use sport. And I mean, a German leader used sport to kind of rally stuff in the Olympics. And we have to think, well, sport has been politicized and we tried to move away from it, but now we're using it again in that way. And it's rough because you have the Ukraine situation that has been used in sport, and obviously it affects the team. I mean, we've talked about it. Well, I mean, that's why I asked the question about the Israeli team. And I mean, you wish the best. You don't want to see innocent people affected by these things, even though obviously it's impossible for that to happen because it's a national thing. And you just hope, because for the games, for example, that finish out this week, how can we go forward and address the issue without giving arena to a person here, where they say, hey, if they elevate this thing, if I do something, then I can raise a light on my cause, or at least it's all publicity is good. So if I could get a negative thing out there and people investigate, what's going on, it's worse, because it's hard, man.
Yeah.
And I wish the best for the situation. I have no idea how to solve it except remove humans from there. I mean, didn't I tell y'all my idea? It was to build the island like they did, and just put the sand in the ocean, or in the sea, and just create that as a resort for, I don't know, the Palestinians or the Israelis. I don't know. Pick one of them and put them there, and let them have their ports and their boats, and let them make bukus of money. I don't know. Even then, I bet someone would try to navally invade.
Someone's gonna have a problem.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, to Patrick's point. Like, I agree that this is supposed to. The whole reason I love Chelsea is I fell in love with Didier Drogba. Man stopped a civil war. They called a ceasefire to cheer on their country in a World Cup qualifying, and they never returned to war after. Like, you have to think about what the Nazis and the French did on Christmas Day in World War II. They stopped, and what did they do? They played a game of football. Like, this sport's supposed to transcend all of this. It's supposed to be bigger than this. And it's like, that's where I hold the sport to be. That's why it's the world sport. We all play this one game for a reason. So if there ever is a time where we do hate each other, and that there's an issue where you are, and God forbid it come, which it is, that they're shooting at each other, you can at least stop to play this game for 10 minutes and recognize the humanity between each other, like we have in history. Like, that's where I hold it at. And that's where it needs to be. Like, and again, like you said, it's past that, right? FIFA's become bigger than countries. FIFA has more money than entire countries. FIFA has the power to make these issues bigger than they are, or implement them in certain places where you don't think that it's a culture issue. While they had the World Cup in Qatar, they don't care about Qatar's rules. What they want to do is push FIFA's culture into Qatar, and they'll pay them off and give them the money to do so. And that's where you're right, Lewis. The game has been, and they did that. FIFA did that. The organization that's supposed to put this game in every country did that, because they made it about politics and money, because there's politics within FIFA. It doesn't stop. Like, it never became about the game. It was, oh, well, we're an elected board on one of the biggest stages ever. So, you're a senator for America, but I'm a president for FIFA. What are you gonna do? Like,
and the thing that you mentioned about the game, and it that matters, and will you stop a war for that? Is the difference is it's a children's game, right? Because we all talk about it. People make millions of dollars playing a children's game. Well, here, just like your point, the issue with that is if it was free to get into those national team games, if it was free to get in, you have a different purpose then. Yep. But because it's not free, and because there's Nike or Adidas,
but like you said, the government will pay, or the government will buy the tickets and issue them to their citizenry, to who they want there, like Iceland did. Iceland's government subsidized those tickets and sent those people to go watch the World Cup. Like, it wasn't.
North Korea did the same thing,
right?
Yeah,
just like I joked about, sending the government, sending people and putting them on buses. Like, and I think I love the idea that you could use it. And the funny thing is that, and it's cool that politics is there, because we can't. Politics and money is intertwined, and we've talked about money in sport and how it's corrupted.
It corrupts it
in this way where it was inevitable that this happens, and the politics of it is, like, for example, we've already talked about the politics of how the next World Cup is basically set up. The next World Cup bid winner is set up to be Saudi Arabia, because of the way they set up the next.
Yeah, we did talk about
it's already there, and so we have to understand that that means we're forcing that, and so that means that that world is inserted in there. And so until you let all kids into a game for free,
Right.
then this is always going to be about that, because it's the politics of making the most money.
Yeah.
And that's why, for example, when we talk about Americans owning teams in England and why they're bad at it, is because it's political for them. And where this is where, Jake, you talked about, the level of Ryan Reynolds, but Ryan Reynolds, even if, and I don't know if it's true, but he comes off as an everyman, as a regular dude. And so that's where they're missing the politics of, if you're a regular guy and you're just doing it for the love. And he was recording it because he's like, hey man, I just want to record my journey. And yes, it happened to have success in it. Then people was like, well, I want to record my stop. Just let it be the moment, man.
Yeah.
And, again, I agree. It was horrible. Those people died. We hope nothing like that happens again.
No.
And I hope the games are awesome and exciting.
Well, just to kind of piggyback off of what you said, real quick, again, shout out to Netflix on the World Cup thing, because it actually breaks down how the 72 World Cup was used as a way to sports wash everything. And that's also when Sepp Blatter started getting sponsorships with Adidas and Coca-Cola and all that. So that's when, it took off. You had World Cup in Argentina. We had a World Cup in Qatar. I mean, shoot.
Well, it's been like that forever, because the World Cup in 1934, Xavier, I'm sure who you as a historian know who the president of Italy was at the time in 1934. That was the first time that the World Cup was ever, like, right out, the second World Cup ever. And it was Benito Mussolini, who was just, Italy's the greatest fascist regime there's ever been, and it was all, we're going to put on the greatest World Cup, the greatest tournament the world's ever seen. It's the same story.
Well,
same thing as Qatar did
in 2010.
Same thing as Russia did in 2018.
2018. Yep. Yeah. 2018.
Well, let's just look at what they did. Right. They did it to South Africa right after apartheid.
Yeah.
They've always used sport. They've always it's politics. I don't.
It's gone off the rails now, though, because the next one is in 6 different countries. What are they doing?
Ridiculous.
Well, the funny thing is, just to support what you're saying, I don't know if you all have seen the movie Invictus about Nelson Mandela.
Fantastic
They
movie.
had the World Cup in South Africa right after that, and Mandela said, what better way to bring the world together than sport? Yep. And then obviously, they played well. But
because they know
they had
and that's the problem. They know what this can do and what this can be and what this is for the world. That's the biggest thing. Like, you'll never find anything bigger in the world than this game. Period. There's something that stems this much across culture, this much across all of those politics, where you can find the same game being played in the streets of Brazil that you can in the streets of Tokyo, or you can at the indoor park in Charleston just as much as you can on the field out in Ukraine. Like, this game has that potential, and they will use it, and they do use it. And that's what we're pointing out. And I don't like it. I don't think there's little to anything that can be done at this point. But that's why it wouldn't surprise me Israel qualifies. It doesn't surprise me Ukraine qualifies. Just like my man just said, doesn't surprise me that Argentina won. Like, at
you
this
already know
point,
my thought on that.
Right, at this point, it doesn't surprise me anymore. There's still magic in the moments. But when the script comes out like that and you read it back, and that doesn't surprise, like, it's like, yeah, that tracks.
Yep, that adds up.
Right.
What I do love, to be positive, is that the World Cup being in these places does expose people to a cultural immersion that they can't even imagine. So, like, the idea of having the World Cup in Belgium and Netherlands. I've never been to the Netherlands, but I've been to Belgium before, and dude,
hey, thanks for being here, man. Sorry to interrupt those, but
keep coming back.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's so lovely to see it, because I remember when I went to Belgium, and the first thing, I'm not going to lie to you, it's the funniest thing ever, because I studied French. I was speaking French in France because I was driving across the northern part of the country, and we go into Belgium, and I'm like, what do they speak in Belgium? Belgic? Because I was just in my brain.
It's Flemish.
It's Flemish, but they speak English there too. They speak English. They speak all
kinds of languages.
Right. They speak multiple languages, but it was so fun because I got there And I'm like, what do they speak? And I was like, well, I'm gonna speak French, and my French was choppy and garbage. And the person looked at me and smiled, and they just started speaking to me in English. And I'm like, oh,
Yep. Yeah, they knew.
Oh.
there you go. There you go.
Oh,
I know that.
yeah, I know. I
All right,
know
then.
English. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
So the cultural immersion part is awesome. That's why,
yeah.
I'm excited about the World Cup being in the United States. I'm going to
too.
go to at least one game. Hey, maybe we all can go to the same one. And I know
we
I'm
got to.
going to get kicked in the butt with the price of the ticket, but
Oh,
I'm still, it's worth
It's
the
right.
moment.
It's gonna be over $1,000.
Right in the teeth.
But it
Oh, I
won't
know.
be the price of season tickets for Inter Miami.
30
Did I
grand.
text that to y'all?
30 grand.
Did you see that? It was stupid.
30 grand.
He won't even play. He won't even play. He's injured. He's injured. He's not even gonna play.
Is it
They got to
Messi
pay for that
goes on
contract
loan?
some way.
Oh,
Messi's going on loan to
Barcelona,
juniors.
right?
No, to the place in Argentina. New old boys.
Oh,
new
Hold on a
boys.
second, Jake. Did I detract from whatever was next? Because I know you said the thing, but I didn't mean to detract.
No.
From what was next.
No, that's been great. No, but yeah, I mean, say what you will about Qatar. We won't get into the political side of that thing. I thought it was a nice World Cup. You got to see a country that looks like it's trying to take a step into being visual. Outside of we're an oil country. There of course you had government sponsored ads and whatnot for this is what you can learn here and this is how you can live here, and makes it all look great and everything. And then of course you read outside the lines or the mirror or whatever in England, and it's like it's not that great. But they got to put on a show and got people interested in in guitar, and I really think it sounds silly, but with Morocco hosting in 2030, I think it's going to be great. I really do. I think that it's going to expose a lot of people outside of Europe specifically to an absolutely beautiful country, to a great culture. I think that the American idea of Morocco is just the movie Casablanca, and for obvious reasons, it's a classic. But I think it'll be great, and it's frustrating that a world organization like FIFA takes advantage of all of us, to make dollars and cents, either directly by us, watching, or getting bids, bribes, to host games in countries that they don't have a great history, and their history still is today. And you look at Saudi Arabia, you see what the PIF is doing. I had a great conversation with somebody the other day about the PIF and what they're doing compared to some other countries, because they're like, oh, well, they're going to buy an NFL team. I'm like, no, the PIF is focused on the international game. NFL is minor to them. They want to be in that top 5 leagues in the world, status. So it's frustrating, but it's also, it's kind of life too. It's as sad as and defeated that is. It is kind of life. We have a love for something, and I remember when Qatar was coming up. I had some friends that were like, "Oh, I'm not going to watch the World Cup because the U.S. got screwed." We won't talk about that. The U.S. got screwed, and it just doesn't feel right. They're still watching the U.S. national team play. They're still watching England. They're still watching Spain. They're still watching the games because that love is just too strong to let it go, because there's so much corruption in the world that we feel like it's that one moment in time where, all right, this is my entertainment. I'm going to block everything else out. If you think about it, you had U.S. Iran, unbelievable match. First off, because the U.S. didn't play to the standard it should have, but it was built up as like Iran versus US, war countries, this, that, and the other. It was just guys playing. They didn't care about the political side of things. They just wanted to play a game and beat each other because, it was a chance to advance in the World Cup.
Well, the funny thing about it is that I love the cultural immersion part of it all, because the thing is it is a kids game. And, I say it like not in a negative way. It's because war doesn't exist amongst children. Children don't know what it is to war. Nope. And so that's why it's so easy to just say, hey, like, for example, if we lived close enough and, we in a group chat, we was like, hey, man, we're going to this park to go play. Doesn't matter what's going on. You find a way to go play. This is why, it's so cool when X tells us the stories about him out there, bombing forward, obviously not tracking back, but bombing forward.
Not tracking back. Not coming back.
Okay, Eden Hazard. Yeah.
I'm not coming back. I'm not coming.
But it makes it fun because it's. I mean, hey, we're talking about soccer, man, or football, depending on where you are in the world. Just because it's something that we understand, even with us having different teams, and even you got you guys on the same team with different perspectives of the same team. It brings about conversation and thought that can span across. You know what? Let me try to find a solution, because I like talking about this thing and connecting on this thing, because it makes you human. And then you appreciate, what, even though, X really hated Graham Potter, I could understand and empathize the moment. So then you see the human in that person. And that's what sport does for you, And so that's where, like, I don't hate on teams, like, and I know, Jake, you have your passion and you're there. But hey, man, that's why I said, like, I don't root for anybody to lose. I root for City to win. If you play against City, then that's the only time and then I'm not even rooting for you to lose. I'm rooting for me to win. I guess that's the result. But then the other games, if you get a draw, cool. Don't care. As long as we get our 3 points, and we just go from there.
That must be nice. That's
where I will differ with you there 100%. If you're ahead of me on the table, I want all of you to lose.
Listen to this. Listen to the Man City fan. Yeah, we don't care what you guys do. It doesn't matter what anybody else does.
Yeah, it's so good. On top of the table, I'm not crying or whining, because I'm like, here's a couple of things.
Because you're about to win 19 straight games.
Possibly. But first, the first thing is that you can't win every year. So I live in the reality of that. You can't win every year. Second thing is
the pep.
Yeah,
right. The second thing is the journey is the most fun.
Mm-hmm. That's
that part is the most fun. That's
just ask Tom. It's about the friends they made along the way.
But here's what we think about it. So I sent you the thing that it shows De Bruyne is back in training, and your first response was, Patrick was like, well, he comes back in time in Chelsea, and Jake is like, well, we missed him. All good for us. And I mean, literally, that's the thing. That's the sport. That's the fun. Yes. That's the fun. And for me, I'm just like, hey, just generally happy. I don't care that we're playing Chelsea. I don't care who we play. I just want us to win.
Because you expect to win every game. That's the difference between you and the rest of us. Is I
remember when we were like that. Too. I remember when we were like that.
Yeah, I mean, do I though? Do I expect to win every game? No. I want to win every game.
Sir, you picked them to win every single week.
Oh yeah,
that's because I pick with my heart.
Yeah, I'm not picking.
You look at the predictions table. I'm in third place. I pick with my heart.
Now hold on a second, because when City played Arsenal,
shark on your finger.
Oh no, it's an alien.
Is that the shark on your finger?
when City played Arsenal last year the first time, I didn't predict City to win. I picked the draw. And then one of them, I might have even picked City to win, because I like to pick and be rational.
Oof.
Right? Oh, last year I was terrible, right? Last year I was terrible. Does my alien look violent? Wait, right here?
Yeah.
So I don't have the shark kelp, so I had to have something else, right? So, but yeah, man, it's just the confidence that I love my team, just like you love your team. And I expect them to come out and be the best version of themselves, because why play the game if you don't want to win?
Yep.
Fair enough.
That's why when randos end up in my Sunday squad, it's bad because I don't go out there just to play. I go out there to win. Like there's a I'm not playing this to lose. I'm not playing this to have fun. I'm playing this because I want to go win.
All the time.
You're the guy 2 foot challenging people in the Sunday league. Coming in like Kovacic.
Yep.
Coming in like Kovacic on Odegaard.
Basically.
3 minutes later.
And then on Rice, the same
And
exact.
then
on Rice.
30 seconds later. Yeah. Oh man. X out here giving brown envelopes to the referees so they don't send him off.
I got my own set of cards in my bag.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I was thinking we'd touch in on the Premier League, but I think we've done enough damage for one night. I thought the conversation took a nice turn, and I certainly enjoyed it. So we'll save the Premier League for Thursday. There are some spicy fixtures to look forward to.
No,
There
Really now.
is a Cup Chasers derby
Oh,
coming
yes, it is.
on Saturday, as well as people are over. No one's really talking so far about the fact that Man City have lost 3 and 4, and now they host Brighton.
No, they got Rodri back. They'll be fine.
It's
Yes.
exciting.
This is true.
If you look, the
Rodri's
3 they
up.
lost, Rodri didn't play.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you, but like I'm trying to like. So there's nothing. I'm trying to build.
Brighton
So-
might get blammed here if they try to play open and lose
It's
the ball.
exciting. I can't wait to see
Brighton
this
might
game.
get blammed here. 5-0.
Lewis is saying, Xavier's like, it's going to be 6-0, and Lewis is like, it's exciting.
It's exciting.
Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a fun
Is
weekend.
the Dutch guy subscribed? Because he definitely needs to, or she, or they, or it. I'm not sure about pronouns. Definitely needs to subscribe. The alien will come back. I'll get a different one.
The alien's coming back. They'll come back around for you. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for being here. Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Subscribe to the channel, guys, if you haven't. Certainly helps us. We're on our way to 100. Last I looked, we were at 98. So we're very, very, very close.
Right there.
Get the likes up on the video, of course. Thanks for being here. We will definitely be back on Thursday. Definitely hope you have enjoyed it, and you will see us next time. Have a good night.